Hello everybody and welcome once again to my little channel. Well, I know what you're asking. What on earth has he been up to this time? Well, I like the look of it, so I bought it. I know these have I don't think these are produced anymore, but and I've read some reviews, some of not all of which are quite favourable, but I thought I'd give it a go anyway. And so what do we have here? We have the Eachine V-Tail 210. I think it's been discontinued now for over a year now, so this is just one of an old stock of brand new items that I happened to come across on a well-known auction site, and I thought, well, it's not much money, we'll give it a go. Right, you can't see the edge of the box too clearly here, but what we got in the box, it's powered by Emax RS 2205 2300 kV motors. With this version there's a Eachine i6 transmitter with it as well. It already has a Eachine X6 receiver installed. You get two sets of GemFan 5045 propellers. It has a GPS module in there, not quite the GPS that you and I would understand, let's say for DJI, etc. I don't think it's going to hold its position. It's just going to record speed, height, that sort of thing, and that will be displayed when you've finished your flight, and you can get that from the statistics on the screen, which I'll show you later. It has a 1080p camera with a recording DVR, and it has the flight board is F3 Evo SP Racing flight board there, and the video transmitter is a 5.8 GHz 40 channel 200 milliwatt, and it comes with a 4S 1500 50C battery and a balanced charger. So I've got the yellow and black version, so we'll take a look and see what we get. Okay everyone, here's contents of the box for the Eachine 210 V-Tail. We start off with you get two sets of these GemFan bullnose props, 5045. There's two right-handed props and two left-handed props in each set there. In the spares bag you get this rather neat little Eachine branded tool for your prop nuts, etc., and you have a Bluetooth adapter. I think it's a Bluetooth adapter, so you can transfer information, update your flight controller via Bluetooth. I believe that's what that's for. You get a little Allen key, and I would recommend that you go around and just tighten up all the nuts. This is an old model now, so you don't know when it was made or how good it was constructed at the factory, so it's always worth just going around and tightening up the nuts. This is a spare ribbon cable for the HD camera in there. It's quite oversized by the looks of it, but hopefully that come in handy. There's a micro USB cable to USB, so if you want to flash your flight controller or go in and with Clean Flight or Beta Flight, I forget which one it is now, let's have a look. I think that's Clean Flight, isn't it? I think that is Clean Flight. Yep, there we go, Clean Flight. So if you want to go in and make adjustments, I won't be doing that. Apart from, I know some of these, including this particular one, suffers from a bit of motor stutter, but I'll get into that shortly. So that's the USB cable for that. Also, what does come with it is this very nice little 2, 3 and 4S charger. They've even supplied you with a UK wall adapter for it as well. There's the adapter itself, plugs in there via jack. Yep, very good. You might notice this is the standard aerial that comes with it, and for the amount of distance I'm going to fly this, and it's not going to be too too great at my stage of flying. I could have perfectly adequately flown this FPV with this transmitter aerial, given it's 200 milliwatt. If it is 25 milliwatt, then yes, definitely would have changed it, but there's probably no need to change that given that it's 200 milliwatt. I've just put a circularized mushroom transmitter area or antenna on there. It's really just a preference for me. So we have the manual, which is explained quite well. Exploded parts diagram there. None of this is relevant now because you can't get any parts for this, but for me it was an unusual purchase, and I hope it's going to give me a bit more confidence to fly to the, you know, or to progress to the next level. Right, let's have a look at the quad itself. A couple of manufacturing little errors I thought were here. These two props, which are right-handed, I think, very, very difficult to do up. I didn't want to take the risk of breaking the shafts, because as soon as you went halfway down, it's almost lock solid. I just couldn't tighten them up anymore. So what I've done, I've got two very tightly fitting washers just to space it out, and tighten these props down to the motors that way. If you're looking and thinking, well, it's not quite the traditional sense. Normally with a quadcopter, these two would be going around that way and these two would be going around that way. They don't, they all go inwards. I suppose it doesn't matter, that's just their way of configuring the flight characteristics, I suppose. Let's have a look at the let's have a look at the camera. It's in a vulnerable position. I'll use my little pointer here to show you some of the features. You see this, it doesn't matter if you do that up, it's not very well, it's a little bit of a give if you crash it nose first, which I'm probably likely to do. On the whole, it's a very, very good camera, and I'll show you the results shortly. Now in there, I don't know if you can see there where I'm pointing my laser pointer there, that is where the SD memory card goes into the DVR. This actually records footage, and having test flown it, I can tell you that the footage is very, very good indeed. Right, let's have a look. What else? Yes, I was going to talk to you about the motor stutter. Now, some people have said in relation to resolving this problem, they've taken the motors off and soft mounted them, i.e. on fibre washers. I seem to think that the timing between the ESCs and the motors is not quite correct. I think that's why they stutter. It doesn't always do it. It seems to stutter at, let's say, low to mid range. The other thing I've noticed is these motor connectors are not entirely shielded. So what I might do is put an extra bit of heat shrink over all these connectors, and here you can see that one there is a little bit damaged already, just to shield any interference between the three wires. I shouldn't think that's going on, but I think it's worth doing. Right here, that's where the battery course. This is a 1500 4-cell, I think it's a 50C battery. Right, onto the transmitter. I've always rated these. These have been out quite a few years now, and they're branded by several different people. They're probably all made in the same factory. This is an Eachine branded model, FSI6 basically is what it is. Sometimes you get them as Fly Sky, or there's another make you can get them under. They're just different brands. Normally, the features or the software inside is all very similar. Sometimes it's different depending which make and model you get. Obviously the software is written for slightly different manufacturers for different requirements, I suppose. Let's have a look at the OSD features on this. It does have a very good OSD with lots of different options. The other thing I should say about this transmitter, although this quad is already bound to this transmitter, the fail-safes are not enabled, and I'll just quickly show you what I did to make sure that they are enabled. So to go into the menu, you need to push these two buttons here inwards, turn it on, then hopefully you can go into, there we go, the menu. Now you would rightly think you need to go into the setup menu. Not on this particular one. You need to go into the system, and what we can do is go down to, I think it was RX setup. Here we go, and down to failsafe, enter there. Okay, so all these channel 1, 2, 3 and 4 need to be enabled. So if we go into on, so failsafe is on, back out there, that's on. I think it's cancel to come out. That's now on, cancel to come out, and channel 4 is on, so cancel to come out all the way, and now that's saved. So if we go back into that again, hopefully we can go into that again, and there you go, you can see that's it's funny that you need to press cancel to come out and save it. Normally you'd press OK, but there we go, that's all on. Right, let's turn the quad on, and I will get the, what I'm going to do, actually I'll put a cover over the camera, and I'll just get out a little FPV screen, and I'll show you the OSD. I'll just move the camera. Okay, so we turn the transmitter on, and let's turn on the quad. Okay, so hopefully, actually I'll move that, and I'll move that closer to the screen. So in order to go into your OSD settings, you bring your, I'll just move that out a little bit, on your transmitter, on this one you bring your throttle up to the level, over to the right, and with your right hand stick move upwards, and as you can see there, with your first comes up screen. Now to move over to a different menu screen, we're going to take the throttle button, move it over to the right. If we move it over to the left, we can go back a screen. Okay, so what I found, and I'll see if I can, you can see my little laser pointer here, I'm on the screen. The RC Rate and the RC Expo, just here, they were they were reading 90 and 65. However, the roll rate, the pitch rate and the yaw rate were all reading 0, and obviously the performance was a little bit lacking. So I've changed those to what you see there, which is 65, 65, 60, and I could raise those rates just to make it a little bit more agile. So far I'm still learning with this, so I'm going to keep it as you see there at the moment. So right, okay, so we have another display menu there, and I think I've left those as it is. We have the display. It's got quite a good display on it with quite a lot of information. I don't really need all that information on screen, which will come through to my goggles when I'm flying. I'll probably find that's a little bit too cluttered at the time being, so I've taken a lot of those off. Sorry, this is the one. So I've taken display amps off and the sensors off. Okay, so here's another display screen, part of the display screen. I've left the horizon on, not that it's absolutely perfect, but it just helps out, I suppose. But you should be able to see what you're doing if you're a relatively competent flyer there. So I've taken the sidebars off, the scrolling bars off, the throttle, GPS coordinates I've taken off. I don't really need to see those because I'm not flying far away. The sensors I've remained on. The gimbal is off. It's not really a gimbal. Map mode is 1. I've not really deciphered what that's about so far. Units, I've gone to Imperial. There's a metric one, which I think it's meters per second, and we all understand miles per hour, don't we? I've reset the signal, that's the video signal, to PAL, and the rest of it I've not actually touched. I've left it as it is. I've left that screen as it is, and I think that one I've left it as it is. And I think we are now back to, this is the screen which will be displayed when you finish flying, and hopefully that will be populated with all the final figures. And here we once again, we're back to the main screen. What I should say, if you wanted to change any of that, what you do, you take your aileron stroke elevator stick, your right hand stick if you're mode 2, and you can see there you can move your cursor up and down, and if you want to change any of these values, you move your aileron stroke elevator stick to the right, sorry, your throttle stick to the right or the left to increase or decrease the values on there. And to come out of it, just move your elevator stick downwards all the way down to the bottom, and you can move your, it's the throttle stick to, no sorry, it's the elevator stick over to exit or save and exit. If you want to save and exit, you'll need to move your throttle stick to the left, and you can see now that's come out of there. You might see up there, there's a little, I'll just press the laser pointer just here, you can see there's a GPS icon flashing away there, and I think that says 0, so it hasn't got any GPS location at the moment. You can see there that says it's in acro mode, which is this switch here. If I turn that down, we're now in stabilized mode. I did make the mistake of making the test fly in acro mode and wondering why it's handling so horribly wrong. Thankfully no damage done, just a bit of a rough landing. So let's just take the that off, and what I do, you can see the image that we're getting from this camera, and it is very, very clear. Very clear indeed. Right, okay, let's just move this out of the way. And what I did like about this quadcopter is that it had an inbuilt DVR, and it is a little bit difficult to get to, but hopefully you can see this, but there's two switches. This one here is to start and stop the video recording. The one back there is to reset the whole DVR. So this unit here is the DVR. As I said before, you've got a little ribbon cable going from this camera here into the DVR, and underneath is the micro SD memory card to record your videos. Right, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it for a very, very quick line of sight flight in the garden. Let's just move that. That's just giving me a warning to say that there's not much movement going on. Yeah, let's just take it out for a very, very quick line of sight flight in the garden. You'll be able to see the motor stutter, and we'll bring it back in, and then hopefully when I get a chance I'll take it up the flying field and we can give it a bit more of a workout with my with the FPV goggles and see how we do. So we'll see you shortly. Hello everyone, and right, okay, we're just out in the garden here just for a brief test fly, just for me to show you the flying characteristics of the Eachine V-Tail 210. There's going to be some motor stuttering here, which I hope to be working on shortly, but it's really just to give you a flavour of the quality of the video that does come out here and the flying characteristics given the way that I've set it up at the moment. So as with a normal brushless motors, is on with the transmitter first. I'm going to make sure that's down in the stabilised mode. Flight in acro is not really for me, to be quite honest with you. I'm not quite that advanced yet, so it's on with the drone. And what I found, I don't know if you can see these lights here, if you take your transmitter sticks either down to the right or the left, it appears to calibrate the drone. So that could be a good thing. That tells me my throttle is not fully down. Right, so I'm going to start recording. In order to do that, it's a little bit fiddly, but you can see just about there's a blue light. So if you briefly press this button here, that blue light is now flashing. And what I'm going to do is at the end of the flight I'll download some footage for you, just so you can see the quality of the footage that comes out of it. So here we go with a little test flight of the Eachine V-Tail 210. So to unlock the motors, down here, and right, here we go. Quite a noisy old bird, but other than that it seems to be quite stable, nowhere near as stable in acro mode. Quite responsive on the yaw. Just about my sensitivity on forward pitch and reverse pitch. A little bit mushy on the aileron. but I can increase those rates. Now the motor stuttering that I was talking about, not seemed to have occurred yet. This has got quite a decent punch out. What I do, I'll give it a very, very brief punch out. That's going to be enough for me, especially in the space I've got here. But it's really the footage that I'd like you to see. This the footage I'm very, very impressed with. I know all this has been superseded now with the micro cine whoops, one of which I've got coming. I think it's the Happy model, but I do understand Beta Flight have got a new one out, the 85X HD. That one's sold out already, so I'm not going to get that one. Whether they make another batch, I don't know. You would have thought they would. It's going to make them lots of money. It's under the 250 grand limit, as I understand. So, and the few videos that I've seen on it have been quite spectacular, and I'm quite impressed at the quality of the footage that's come out of them. Right. Let's this is quite responsive. This is going to give me a challenge to fly, and if you're like me, you like a bit of a challenge, I think you can still get one of these Eachine 210s second hand on an auction site somewhere. As I say, this is new old stock, so this will be a challenge for me, certainly. Yeah, I think, yeah, the aileron's a little bit mushy, but it's, you know, I can live with that. The turn is very, very, very good. Right, that locks it. That's back into acro mode. As far as I'm aware, these turn switches have no function, and this has no function either. One thing I'm not too keen on is the brakes on the motor. I'll look in to see if I can take the brakes off, and yes, the brake function's not really me. I prefer more of a freewheeling stop if we can. while I'm here, let's stop the recording. And once again, you can see that blue light flashing. So it's a quick press, and that blue light there has now gone solid, indicating it's stopped recording. But it really will be worth, I think, you seeing the quality of the footage. We didn't have any motor stuttering, which I was quite pleased with. I've got a funny feeling maybe that I did think that one of these motors, I forget which one, wasn't inserted fully. That may have had something to do with it. I'm not sure. What I will do, as I said here, I'll get some more sleeving and go over. If I can move the existing sleeving up without damaging it, I will. But I think possibly there may have been a bit of interference between one of these three wires. It's doubtful, but it's a possibility you've got to consider. But anyway, right, next time I'll take this up the field and give it a bit more of a workout. Until then, I'll upload footage onto this video, and you can see for yourself what it's like. So we'll see you again shortly. Cheerio for now. Bye.